Hello listeners, welcome back to Biznesowo po angielsku podcast. How are you today? Hope you are really well. For those who don't know me yet, I'm Ewa Domarecka, a professional English teacher with a deep passion for teaching business and general English. For over a decade, I've had the pleasure of working with professionals across various industries, guiding them in mastering the language of business. My read journey ultimately paved the way for Biznesowo po angielsku, a venture where I can bring together my passion for teaching and my vision for helping others succeed in the world of business English. So this podcast is for everyone who wants to stay up to date with both modern business English and the real-world business issues we face today, as well as other bits and pieces. In my last episode, I spoke about Taylor Swift, a figure who might not immediately come to mind in a business context, yet has an undeniable influence on global business dynamics. Here, I want to throw a huge shout out to all of you listening. The feedback I received last time was absolutely wonderful and really motivating. There was so much support and encouragement from my current and past students and new listeners too. It's been amazing to receive your messages and hear how much you are enjoying the show. I truly appreciate that. And I really hope you will stay with me for much, much longer. Before I move on to my today's business talk, I'd love to touch base with you and ask how you are doing today, listeners. Well, we are right in the dead of winter, and I need to say that January, with its relentless frost and those endlessly grey skies, is already making me a little grumpy. It's that time of year when the days feel as though they've lost their warmth and light, leaving us, a bit curmudgeonly. That sort of grumpy, easily annoyed mood where even small things can set you off. It's the kind of mood that your family or close colleagues will notice, and arguably not in the best way. So anyway, are you any of this right now, mates? I think you will agree with me that there is just something about the chill and gloom that can bring out our grumpy sides. So are you any of this? Or are you finding ways to successfully shake off the winter blues? Maybe planning a little getaway, cozying up with a good book, or dare say, indulging in a podcast. I hope you are finding some nice ways to enjoy this season and, more importantly, that you don't succumb to a cold. Thankfully, when you think about it, we are not that far from spring right now. What is it? Just a couple more weeks, right? If I may have a little heart-to-heart with you, I have to confess I'm also working hard to stay motivated and positive through these chilly and gloomy weeks, especially since it's a very busy time for me right now and I've been a little overwhelmed working my socks off lately. But I also have to say how grateful I am for my husband's incredible support. I mean, Rob has been a steady source of encouragement, always there to give me reassurance whenever I lose my confidence. And I know he's going to be shy about me saying this, but I feel very lucky to have him by my side. Oh well, okay, dear listeners. I think I'm getting a bit self-indulgent with my rambling, so I think it's about time to buckle up and jump into today's business topic, one that strikes at the heart of any successful business. That is managing internal conflicts and understanding their impact on a company's market stability. So, if you are in a comfortable spot, top up your tea or coffee and let's get started. I hope you will like it. Today, mates, we are diving into a topic that every business faces at one point or another: internal conflicts. These aren't just personal disputes behind closed doors. Sadly, these are issues that can shake things up in a big way, creating a major impact on everything from company morale to stock market confidence. Remember the phrase from my last episode, the ripple effect? So think of it like a ripple in a pond. One tiny stone, and suddenly the whole surface is moving. The same in business. One decision or wrong step, and the consequences can spread far beyond what was initially imagined, affecting not just the company, but also its reputation, partners, and even investors. It might happen that for certain reasons, people start to clash over influence, power, or of course money. As a company grows, people's roles, responsibilities, and ambitions grow alongside. At some point, individuals might feel they are no longer in the driver's seat, or that their voice isn't as strong as it used to be. Add to this ambition and strong personalities, and all these elements can quickly turn into a struggle for control and authority, even if that wasn't the original intention. So let's set the scene with a few questions. Have you ever wondered how a clash of leadership styles might impact a company's stock price? Or do you reckon those tensions at the top can be tackled before they snowball into something much, much bigger? And what happens if the company can't hold it together? Can it still hold its ground in the market? Anyway, let's bring this into the real world with a sensational example that's been all over the headlines lately. You must have heard about Zygmunta Solorza, one of Poland's most high-profile business figures. Right now, his family-run empire is going through a public dispute that has now made its way into the courtroom. It all started with tensions within the family, particularly over succession and leadership roles. And now, here's the twist. These family conflicts have spilled over into his business, resulting in a volatile situation and consequently significant loss. Solorza's company, Cyfrowy Polsat, saw its valuation drop by 2 billion zlotys, which at the current exchange rate is about 470 million euros. Let's not forget, we are talking about a type of business loss where family conflicts have a direct impact on the corporate world. In this full-blown conflict, the children of Solorza argue that their legal actions are driven by their father's declining health and his vulnerability to the influence of his current wife and her circle. They claim they are trying to prevent her from taking control of the family wealth. On the other hand, Solorza himself says the children's motivation is to speed up the succession process. So how did this unfold, my dear listeners? Namely, in August 2024, Zygmunta Solorza signed a document in front of a notary agreeing to give control of the TV foundation in Liechtenstein to his children. Solorza had established the foundation and is its first beneficiary, using it to manage his largest business assets. But, according to Mr. Solorza, he was unexpectedly misled by his own children, who presented him with complicated documents that made him believe that the agreement was harmless. However, before long, it turned out the document he had signed was a major change that removed his key rights, including the ability to decide who sits on the supervisory boards or even influence business decisions. As soon as Solorza realized what had happened, he decided to back out of the agreement. And in response, his children told him that there was no such way he could withdraw, obviously leaving their father feeling deceived. Consequently, Solorza made a bold move. As the founder of the TV Foundation, he named the Polsat Foundation as the beneficiary after his death. So in other words, the children who inherit the foundation wouldn't be his own children, but rather any children served by the foundation. In addition to the legal issues with the TV Foundation, Solorza also voted out his children from key positions within the supervisory boards of the companies that make up his empire. So as you understand, this is where things got really complicated. In business terms, this situation, dear listeners, is a perfect example of what we call the spillover effect. The term used in economics to describe how an event or situation in one area can have unintended consequences in other areas, often beyond what was originally anticipated. It's when internal family conflicts ripple out into the business world, impacting not only the business itself, but its relationships and financial stability. And it's not just about the Solorza family. When a company faces such high-stakes family disputes, the impact is felt across the market, creating uncertainty for investors and clients, obviously. Now, this situation, ladies and gentlemen, reminds me a lot of the drama series Succession. If you've seen it, you know exactly what I mean. In Succession, a wealthy family is caught in a bitter fight for control of a global media empire where internal conflicts, power struggles, and leadership clashes have a massive impact not only on the family, but also on the business itself. Well, let's admit it, just like the Solorza family. Much like the Roy family in Succession, the Solorza family is dealing with power struggles that, there is no denying, have the potential to shake the foundation of the empire. This story is also quite similar to the famous case of Samsung's succession battle years ago. Do any of you remember that? The heirs of Samsung's founder were caught in a bitter legal dispute over succession, and it created a massive media frenzy. What started as a private family matter turned into a public spectacle, raising serious questions about the company's leadership and future stability. This meltdown, in fact, was very much about market confidence, investor trust, and the company's global reputation as well. The market's reaction was swift. Samsung shares plummeted and investors were left wondering what would happen next for one of the world's biggest tech giants. So, here I've got a little digression. Because now, when family-owned businesses go through these kinds of conflicts, it feels like a house of cards, doesn't it? One wrong move, and it all comes tumbling down. The volatility created by these disputes doesn't just hurt the people involved. It can actually take a serious toll on the company's market value, strain partnerships, and even prompt clients to look elsewhere for more stability. And as you understand, that's the last thing any business wants. So some of you may wonder how companies handle such situations. Well, sometimes they bring in external advisors to step in, or they implement new policies to prevent things from spiraling out of control. And in the process, they signal to investors and stakeholders that they are committed to maintaining stability, even though there is a real storm raging behind the scenes. And that brings us to the heart of today's topic. When internal conflicts hit the market, it's not only about resolving disagreements, but about maintaining investor confidence. After all, a company's success often relies on its ability to weather the storm and emerge as a united team at last. Now, let's take a deep dive into the ins and outs of today's discussion. The vocabulary I'm going to break down in a moment is very useful in business, not only when talking about conflicts, but in other contexts as well. Are you ready? Let's get started. One, vote somebody out. When we say vote somebody out, we are talking about a situation where a group of people decides through a vote that a person should no longer hold a position of power or responsibility. Imagine this. There is a leader or someone in charge, and not everyone is happy with how they are doing their job. Maybe they are not making good decisions, or people feel someone else could do the job better. So, instead of arguing or waiting for them to step down, the group takes a vote. They all get to say yes or no to the question whether this person should stay in charge. If the majority of people vote no, then the person loses their position. In other words, they are voted out. It's like saying, we've decided together that you shouldn't be in this role anymore. In short, to vote someone out means using a democratic process to remove someone from their position because most people agree they shouldn't be there anymore. 2. To hold one's ground. This means to remain firm in a position despite opposition or pressure. So now, imagine you are standing on a hill and the wind is trying to push you over. If you hold your ground, you don't let the wind move you. You stay strong and steady where you are. This can apply to your beliefs, decisions, or even business strategies. Let's take a look at this example. When a company's reputation is at stake, it needs to hold its ground and stick to its values, even if it's under pressure to change. So as you see, listeners, to hold one's ground means to remain steadfast and not give up, whether it is in your personal beliefs, decisions, or business strategies, even when faced with opposition or challenges. 3. Tackle something. The verb tackle means to deal with something, usually a difficult or complicated issue, a problem, or a task. When you tackle a problem, you are taking action to solve it. For example, if a company faces a financial challenge, the management team may hold a meeting to discuss how they can tackle the problem of declining sales and develop a strategy to boost the revenue. In short, to tackle is a verb that implies taking responsibility and actively trying to find a solution to something that needs attention. 4. To bleed into. This phrase, which is kind of metaphorical, is used when one thing starts to influence or affect another, often in a way that's unwanted or problematic. Let's imagine we've got two colors of paint next to each other on a canvas. If the red paint starts to blend with the blue paint, the red bleeds into the blue, creating a mess. In life or business, it's when one area, like personal problems, starts interfering with another, like work. So, for example, personal arguments between employees can bleed into the workplace, making it hard for the team to focus and work effectively. 5. The spillover effect. The spillover effect happens when an action or event in one area causes unexpected changes or impacts in other areas. Technically, it's similar to the ripple effect, where one action spreads outwards. The difference is that the spillover effect often focuses on how these changes affect other people or situations, even if they weren't directly related to the original action. The term is frequently used in economics to describe how decisions in one sector impact other sectors or individuals. 6. Volatile. This adjective describes something that's unpredictable and likely to change suddenly. This word describes something that changes quickly and unpredictably, often in a way that feels unstable or even dangerous. It's like a bottle of Coke that's been shaken up. You don't know exactly when it will explode, but you know it's going to happen soon. In business, volatile is often used to talk about situations or markets that are hard to control. Now, have a look at this example. Leadership conflicts can create a volatile environment in the company when nobody knows what's going to happen next and everyone feels uneasy. 7. To take a toll. This expression means that something gradually causes harm, damage, or negative effects over time. It's not something that happens all at once, but little by little. It wears something out. Imagine you are carrying a heavy bag on your back every day. At first, it might not seem like a big deal, but over time, it starts to hurt your back. That's how something takes a toll. Take this example. A lack of communication can take a toll on team dynamics and overall productivity. 8. To weather the storm. This idiom means to survive or get through a challenging or difficult situation, especially when faced with uncertainty or stress. Now imagine you are in a small boat during a powerful storm. The waves are high, the wind is fierce, and it feels like everything could go wrong at any moment. Despite the chaos, if you manage to stay calm, hold on tight, and keep the boat steady, you will eventually make it through when the storm subsides. In business, this can refer to enduring a tough period, whether that's financial instability, a market downturn, or internal conflicts. It's all about resilience and navigating through the rough times until calmer days arrive. Let's take this. Companies need clear policies in place to weather the storm when internal conflicts arise. 9. Meltdown. A meltdown happens when a situation becomes chaotic and uncontrollable. We can use the word meltdown to describe situations in different areas like business, sports, or even personal life. It's a dramatic word that shows things have gone very, very wrong and very quickly. A meltdown in business refers to a major collapse or failure, often caused by internal problems, conflicts, or external pressure. In sport, a meltdown is used to describe a situation when a team or an athlete performs very badly, often after being in a good position. It can also describe someone who loses emotional control during a game. Have a look at this example. While Roger Federer is known for keeping his cool on the court, he had a few rare meltdowns in his career. One memorable moment was during the 2020 Australian Open when frustration with his performance and injuries led to some uncharacteristic outbursts. In everyday life, we might use meltdown to say that someone becomes very upset or overwhelmed, often leading to tears, yelling, or shutting down emotionally. So let's have this example. Little Emma had a meltdown when her mom said she couldn't have the chocolate bar she wanted. She started crying loudly, stomping her feet, and refused to leave the sweet ale. That's exactly what we mean by a meltdown. 10. Spiral out of control. This means that a situation starts to get worse and worse, and it becomes so bad that no one can stop it anymore. It's often used when talking about problems that grow quickly and become very hard to manage. Example: if leadership conflicts spiral out of control, they can damage the entire company. So, dear listeners, today we've unpacked how internal conflicts, especially in family-owned businesses, can create situations that don't just stay within company walls but reach into the market, affecting stock prices, partnerships, and even investor confidence. By looking at examples like Solorza's case and Samsung's succession battles, we can see how high the stakes are when it comes to maintaining stability in a world where personal dynamics can easily impact public perception. I hope my talk and the expressions I taught you today will give you more confidence when discussing similar issues. Remember to use new vocab in your speaking practice. Listening to podcasts or reading articles is absolutely fantastic. It really is. But it's not enough on its own. To truly master business or general English, the key is to practice speaking and articulate your thoughts and ideas. You've got to make it real by actively putting your skills into action. Think of it like exercise. You can watch all the workouts videos in the world, but unless you actually hit the gym, progress will be slow and your body won't get any stronger. So, whether it's practicing with your colleagues, friends, or joining a lesson, make sure you are actively engaging with the language. That's how you will grow, and I'm here to support you every step of the way. Alright, ladies and gents, that's all for today. Cheers for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed this episode and feel encouraged to share your thoughts, stories, or insights with me. Maybe you've heard about other resounding conflicts within companies. If you have, don't be shy and drop some ins and outs in the comments. Spill the tea, as they say. And what do you think? Do conflicts always affect companies negatively, or can they sometimes lead to positive change? I'm really looking forward to finding what you think. I'd be delighted if you could join me for the next episode as well. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. For more information about me and this podcast, visit my website at biznesowopoangielsku.pl and follow me on Instagram for extra content. On my Instagram page, Biznesowo po angielsku, I go over the vocabulary from each podcast episode, offering detailed explanations and a variety of practical, engaging, interactive exercises. I believe it's a great way to reinforce what we've discussed and also practice the language in a fun way. So keep it in mind that soon I'll be posting a breakdown of the vocabulary that appeared in today's episode so you can get a closer look at the expressions we've covered today. Thanks again for sticking with me, and I can't wait to chat with you next time. Take good care of yourselves. Cheers. Bye.